another edition of Riding Home here on Dog Post. Thanks for listening to us on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, everywhere across the universe, Instagram. Subscribe to us. You can see it down there in the bottom corner if you're listening to us on YouTube. Matt, it's a big weekend of recruiting. Dog Post covers recruiting every single day, but G-Day is actually one of the bigger days in the recruiting calendar. What do you have coming up for this weekend as far as the kids, and what are you looking for?
Yeah, lots of 5-stars are going to be on campus this upcoming weekend. I had a big G-Day visitor list on Dog Post, got that out late last week, so make sure you go take a look at that. But I'm going to start with the 5-stars because they're coming from across the country. 5-star cornerback Keely Ringo from Arizona is going to be in town. He's the number 1 or 2 ranked cornerback in the country, depending on where you look, what site you're on. He's a very big deal. 5-star running back Kendall Milton from California, another guy on the West Coast, the number 2 running back in the country. He will be on campus. 5-star linebacker Mikhail Sherman from the D.C. area, the number 1 ranked inside linebacker. I think he could play inside. I think most sites have him at outside linebacker. And then another local 5-star tight end, Eric Gilbert from Marietta, will also be on campus. So those are 4 confirmed 5-stars in the 2020 class alone that'll be in Athens this weekend. So I know you've seen Eric Gilbert a good bit. We've talked about a lot of these guys on Dog Post. Very, very big visits here. I think Georgia leads right now probably for 5-star Mikhail Sherman from what I'm hearing. I've been told top 3 for 5-star running back Kendall Milton. And Keely Ringo obviously has Georgia high on his list as well. He was in Athens earlier this year. He's going to be back for a second visit this year, this upcoming weekend. So lots of 5-stars, Dean.
They have some work to do, generally speaking, only because we're at that time of the year that you don't have anything nailed down. Who do they need to do the most work with? And this person, they could be in the lead there, but who do you think Georgia has to do the most work with over the weekend?
I'm going to say the running back, 5-star Kendall Milton. This is his first visit to Georgia. Obviously, they need 2 running backs badly in this class. They're going after the country's best, and he's one of them for sure. So they stay in constant contact with him as much as they can. They treat him like a priority, although he's never been on campus. This will be his first visit, so they're definitely going to roll out the red carpet for him. Another guy who I think they want to close the deal with this weekend is Tate Ratledge, 4-star tackle out of Darlington. This is a Georgia-Tennessee battle. He was in Knoxville last weekend. He'll be at Georgia this weekend, was at Georgia last month. He's a major target. He's committing this summer. We'll see if the Georgia staff kind of pushes for a commitment this weekend.
Well, they would love to nip that in the bud, take away the threat that seems to be Tennessee for Tate Ratledge, and kind of move on from there. Because if you get him, the left tackles don't typically grow on trees. You've got a guy in Cade Mays that probably could step in next year when Thomas leaves for the NFL. When Thomas probably leaves for the NFL. But after that, you don't have a bunch of left tackles in this program. So would Ratledge be a guy that would be in that same line in terms of the left tackles?
He's important for sure, and I think he can be their left tackle of the future. You never want to start a left tackle as a freshman. Obviously, Andrew Thomas was at right tackle, made the transition over. So he'll be coming in, and he told me that after the opening. He said, if things go the right way, Andrew Thomas and Isaiah Wilson would both hit the NFL.
Yeah.
So he definitely sees a path to play at a prestigious place, home state, University of Georgia. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch. He's important.
He is, and Eric Gilbert is too. We're going to go see him in the spring. Of course, it is the spring. We're going to go see him soon at Marietta. They are, they're doing all they can at all these positions to sign high-level 5-star kids. But Eric Gilbert is one of the guys that, along with the kid in Las Vegas, they could sign the top 2 players at that position. What do they have to do with Eric from this point forward?
Well, I think they definitely lead with Eric. They just got to be consistent and throw the ball a little more. Obviously, they want to see the ball go to the tight ends. Eric is a receiving tight end. He can make a lot of plays from that position. So he does want to see Georgia open up, use those tight ends a little more. And I know that he does like Coach Todd Hartley, who's there.
Right.
I'm sure Coach Hartley has informed Eric and Darnell Washington, the 5-star out of Las Vegas, that they are going to throw the ball around and be a little more tight end friendly than they usually have. Excuse me. Darnell Washington was at Florida recently. We'll see if he makes it to G-Day. That would be a big deal.
Yeah, that's a lot of cross-country flights in a row.
Yeah. So he's already on the East Coast. I mean, it doesn't look like he will make it there. Who knows? Last-minute visit. I mean, 5-star guys kind of keep these visits under the radar unless they know you pretty well. So we'll see there. But, again, lots of out-of-state guys. Dwight McGlothern, one of the top cornerbacks in the country from Texas, will be there. 4-star defensive back Joel Williams from New Orleans will be in town. 4-star DB Henry Gray from Miami is going to be in town. I mean,
there's no geographical. It's just, but this again, borders just don't matter right now, and you have to wonder. That's the most challenging thing about covering this program is that it's great that Georgia is blessed with a bunch of high caliber talent, but it's pretty clear that if you're not a top national player and say you're the best player in Georgia, you may not be getting a sort of a pursuable offer from the Dogs.
Right. I think one kid who does have a committable offer right now is a local kid, 4-star linebacker Lanneth Whitehead.
Yeah.
We'll see. He's another guy who I would kind of put on commit watch right now. I've spoken before, put on Dog Post. I think he might be Georgia's next commitment in this class. He's from Athens. That was a big offer for him. He will obviously be in town right down the road at G-Day. So we'll see if he decides to pop the trigger or not. But G-Day is also a great time for these young kids to get on campus. So, I mean, there's a giant list of 2021 kids, and that's where you bring in the state's best. All the best players in the state of Georgia for 2021 will be in Athens this weekend. Another chance for them who are still early in their recruitment to get a good look at G-Day. They might not get a ton of attention from the staff like the 2020 guys and 5-star visitors from across the country, but always a good time to get these young in-state guys on campus. Let them know that, while they might not be pursued as heavily right now, but they are still interested, and I know that's a really good group too.
Yeah, the other thing, man, that's so interesting, if you want to call it that. We've talked a lot about the calendar, but there's really no big program in the South that's having their weekend this weekend. As far as spring game, Alabama went this past weekend. The Gators, LSU, and Clemson were a couple of weekends ago. So your sort of direct competitors, if you want to call them that, they're not really around. And I have to say that I do know that when you're recruiting guys in Louisiana, Texas, Florida, California, and Maryland, that often Florida or the Gators, Alabama, Auburn are not really your direct competitors in those cases. But in the South, generally speaking, Georgia is the only one going this weekend who's sort of a top-notch program. That is leading to a lot of kids being on campus and having the ability to come check out the school. What are the youngest kids that are going to be coming? I know you mentioned a couple just now, but 2021 and 2022 kids, maybe that no one has really heard of yet. Maybe the lineman in Camden County, or the tight end from Hart County, or whoever. Who should folks pay attention to that could get some attention this coming weekend?
Well, I think running back Cody Brown from Parkview will get a lot of attention. He's a player I really like. I love his sophomore film at Parkview. He's blowing up with offers. He'll be on campus. But, yeah, we've talked about Micah Morris a lot, a big-time offensive tackle, 15 years old out of Camden County.
Yeah.
We'll push for 5-star status. Amarius Mims out of Bleakley County, big 6'7" kid that we saw a couple months ago. He is ranked as the number one player in the state on another site. So much potential there and linked. I mean, he's only going to get better. Look for Georgia to put the pressure on him. He's going to be a big target. David Daniel, big-time athlete, defensive back out of Woodstock, will be on campus. He's got a ton of offers. And then another guy I really like, Jaden Thomas. He trains with former Georgia receiver Terrence Edwards. He's at a Pace Academy. Was really impressive at the Under Armour camp a couple weeks ago. He really likes Georgia. They were the first to offer, I believe. Believe it's a committable offer too. So he's a guy who you might see on Georgia's commit list in 2021 at the receiver spot.
Matt, what are you looking for from a recruiting standpoint as we wrap up this edition of Riding Home? What are we missing that we haven't yet thought of, and maybe even atmospherics, stuff like that. What will you be looking for on Saturday?
Just to see the recruits' reactions. We try to get pictures of them in the sand, see who they're sitting with, which prospects they're hanging out with, who's getting the most attention on the sideline before the games. Are they talking to coaches? Are they watching the team warm up? Who's having a great time? Who's taking all the pictures? Just figure out who's really liking Georgia, especially these out-of-state guys who we might not be able to talk too much during the week, like the in-state kids. But I know this is a business trip for a lot of these guys, especially these out-of-state kids who can't come to Georgia every other weekend. So it'll be a business trip for these guys like Keely Ringo and Kendall Milton, who might be the most important guy visiting, the 5-star linebacker out of California, 6'2", 250 pounds with speed. He's a special player. So it'll be a big weekend. There's always some silent commitments that go down behind the scenes. So if I'm expecting, I don't know what I'm expecting. There could definitely be a commitment or two. I have not been told that's going to happen for certain, but it could always happen. And even if there's not any public commitments, there's always something going on behind the scenes. It's going to be a good weekend from a recruiting standpoint.
Go to dogpost.com, subscribe. It's bottom right-hand corner if you're on YouTube, iTunes. You know how to subscribe there as well. SoundCloud. Please go visit dogpost.com if you're on Instagram. Thanks for listening to us. Dean Legge and Matt DeBary signing off. Another edition of Dog Post Riding Home.